I think Arteta with Aubameyang has done very well. I still think Welcome to One-2-One with Simon Jordan. Next week's show is the last show of the year, so make sure you put your questions in, and they're good ones, and leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Look, everything is cyclical in football. Do I think Liverpool are going to drop off because they've got an ageing squad? No, I don't think so. I think Klopp thinks out of the box. I think he will continue to look around the marketplace. It's key to see if Liverpool are going to back him, because a lot of the backing that Klopp has got has always been on the basis that other players have been sold for top money and the money redeployed. You look at Virgil van Dijk, you look at Alisson, a lot of that money was funded by the sale of Coutinho. So you hope that FSG are going to support Klopp in his ability to be able to maintain what is a ferociously intense group of players. So I would envisage, knowing how FSG work, that they will support Klopp and he will replenish the squad and balance the age range, and I don't see them dropping off the cliff. Now, if Klopp goes, that's a different dynamic entirely. But if Klopp's there, I don't see Liverpool coming up short. Whether they can, take over from Man City or go past Man City is a different discussion entirely. If you have to choose between two players, you have to take into consideration the setup of your side and which player fits into the formation that your manager wants to play. It wouldn't be me choosing it; it'd be the manager. So both of those players you require some funding from Fort Knox to get. So in the great scheme of things, probably if it were me, because I'm a great believer in big, strong centre forwards that score lots and lots of goals, I think it would be Erling Haaland. I think Rangnick's going to be the manager. I think unless there's a terrible decline, which is difficult to see how much further Man United can decline at times, I think Rangnick's going to get them together. And I think there's a distinct possibility, as he alluded to in his first press conference, that he's not there to be director of football or to be a consultant, more to the point. He's there to be director of football, or preferably manager. And I think he's auditioning. And I think United at this moment are going through a transition where he's sacrificing some of the play to install the basic disciplines, to build the platform, a bit like Tommy Tuchel did at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of his time with Chelsea, and then launched. And I think Rangnick will do the same. He's going to make sure the players get the message, and then allow them to express themselves and be a bit braver in the way they play. So, do I think he should sign? Do I think he'll be able to sign players? I think if he's going to be the director of football or a consultant, he's going to be advising which players should be bought anyway. So it's a bit of a non-decision, because he's going to be in the process either which way. I just think he's going to be a little bit more hands-on, which means first-team manager, unless the wheels come off, and I don't think they will with Rangnick. The idea that he acts in the best interest of the player depends what you think the best interests of the player are. Some players will say my best interests are my economics and how well I get rewarded. And when you've got people like Pogba, they're going to land at big sides. He's not going to be going to Getafe in Spain, is he? He's going to go to big clubs. So there's a combination of the two. Raiola's got too much influence and too much to say for himself, but that's up to the clubs and the governance to put these people back in their seats. One thing that Gary Neville and I concur on is that he needs to be marginalised. Gary's talked about United never dealing with him again because of his antics, and I'm in that camp. I think sometimes you've got to really, to make an omelette, you've got to break some eggs, and that particular egg is well deserving of being broken. But I think his main thrust is what's in the business of an opportunity for me. And I think Raiola's motivation is how much he gets out of it, and his player is a conduit for that. So I'm afraid people might think this is a formulaic answer because of my distaste for agents, but I think front and centre of the queue of intentions or the best interest is Raiola's first. Unfortunately, it probably isn't the biggest fix you've ever seen, because there's been plenty of other ones over the history of time. And the argument is about precedence, and the problem is there has been precedence for this particular decision. The controversy is the last race of the season and the manner in which it was implemented on the last lap, and with only 4 cars being brought in front. I think it's a tragedy if it ends up in the Court of Arbitration of Sport. I think Hamilton has won 7 World Championships. I know that doesn't mean if you've won the 8th that you should be magnanimous, but I think Verstappen, neither driver really is at fault here. And what you're doing then is you're making politics and subjective views about the motivations of the race officials at the centre of it. I think you leave it and you act in a way that is becoming of people that are leaders of sport, and accept sometimes that things don't go the way you want and injustices get served. And injustices happen to all of us. So I think sometimes you just have to get on with it and say, okay, maybe I'm a moral winner and I'll rise above it. I think Arteta with Aubameyang has done very well. I still think there's a problem with Arteta being an executor. I think he's great in theory, but when it comes to execution, which means the outcome, I think he's going to come up short. I think he's going to be similar to Frank Lampard, where he'll assemble the parts and someone may come to put them together. And I fear that for Arteta. But I think in the situation with Aubameyang, when I saw it, I went, whoa, well done you. Get in there, do something and be meaningful about it and say what you mean and mean what you're saying. Create some character and fibre in that dressing room, because it's too flaky, it's too lightweight, it's too easy-ozy, and Arsenal have been that way for too long. So I think it's right, and I think Aubameyang has well earned this, irrespective of backstories that are filtering through the media about the reasons why he was late back for training. This is a resolution a long time in the making. He's been asking for Arteta to step up and be a manager in this situation. So I think Arteta is absolutely right. It's what he does next, whether he can turn Aubameyang around, I don't think so. And how the playing squad understands this manager means business and what it translates into, we'll see. But I think he's absolutely right to say, this is how it is. I'm the manager. This is how it will be. So that's this week's episode. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts on Formula One, on Aubameyang, on the debate of Haaland versus Mbappe, and leave your questions in the comment sections below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.